once again today to actually deliver a stream of Orb on the movements of the Earth. We're actually all good to go. So yes, we actually watch episode 6 of Orb on the movements of the Earth, and as of last time, yeah, I mean, it was a very good episode overall. As said, it's one of those series that really does kind of in a short space of time cram in quite a lot of things that can't be achieved in other shows in 25 episodes, because though Akoshi's entire character arc hasn't been completed just yet, 'cause there's still a ways to go about it, but within that space of 2 episodes, you've got a lot of context for his character and a lot of development on there. Again, it's stuff that you don't really see too often, and it's done here so effortlessly and also organically as well that it feels so good, man. I wish more shows were like this. It's one of those things that it just goes above and beyond, really. This series, it's a crime that since episode 3, I haven't really seen that much chatter about it. Streaming. Come by and get comfy as we watch some more Orb on the movements of the Earth. I kind of don't want this series to kind of just fall prey to the idea that it's like, oh, there has that one moment and then that's it, and then they'll talk about the rest of it. Because I kind of feel like, yeah, those moments are like grandiose and amazing, but equally the bits around it are also really good. And I kind of feel like it needs to be talked about more in that context as well. Also, I can't remember which button is to start. Okay, I remember now. I couldn't remember which button was to start the timer. Anyways, let's actually start this thing in 3, 2, 1. Let's start this thing absolutely now. I should get Badeni this week as well. It's on some wacky alternate timeline to JoJo Part 5 where Diavolo and Bucciarati actually work together. God damn. I mean, let's be real. It is pretty life-changing. Technically world-changing as well, but life-changing nonetheless. I actually really cannot wait for the rest of the show to be animated though, because there's certain I haven't read the rest of the manga just yet. I'm kind of taking it as slow as I possibly can because I don't really want to rush through it. But there is a certain episode I do really want to see because it will be like it trumps episode 3 by a long shot. God damn. So, bro, but I got this box. It's got this box will change your entire existence. It will bowl accounts, pun intended, flip your whole entire world upside down. But yeah, like I said last week, what I kind of like about this show is that, and it'll delve more into the future, is the idea of like, essentially, you don't necessarily feel as if every single character is not doing something to this world. Every single character does something, even if it's a little bit. They're doing something. They're changing the world and changing history. I kind of like that because what I kind of feel like with most shows and in other, it happens in every single medium, is the idea of the secondary character kind of not really doing too much to the grand scheme of things. And I kind of feel like the writers sometimes do treat them that way. In essence, they're just a secondary character, not really anything more than to aid the protagonist. But I kind of feel like what this show does do and does it really damn well is it kind of explores the concept that every single person's doing something to change the course of history. And it's one of those things, it's really nice in that way, because again, it doesn't devalue any character. When a character dies, you feel that death, and you also then feel the ripples in the world. And again, I feel like more shows need to do that kind of aspect, because it's a nice thing to actually do for characters that otherwise sometimes people may forget. Because we ain't going to forget Raffle, are we? We ain't going to forget Grass either. Because they've done, even in the small time we shared with them, they've done quite a lot. I kind of feel like it's kind of what this show does really do very well, more so than other shows. I kind of feel like it needs more recognition in that way. I think. Also does delve into the idea that how society does kind of stop everyone from being able to do what they want to do as well. Again, future time we will probably explore a bit more, especially with one character in particular. But I do kind of like how the show does delve into like they want to do more than what they can, but they can't because society's limiting them. He's so cool. I like him a lot. don't think he's gonna like. I don't think he's gonna like that very much, is he? I don't think he's gonna like him saying that. It's gonna be like, bro, you got the brain scrambled a little bit there, don't you? This kind of go back to the whole entire idea that really they can't stop them from like learning about it or like exploring it as well. They can only do so much until they basically just say fuck it and just continue going on. It's what Raffle says. Raffle says like you can never like stop us. We're just gonna keep going and going because it is man's own thing of curiosity, isn't it? it's, it's such an interesting way to just barge through a window. I don't think he even jumped or anything. I think he just lunged into it. It's like I got a sixth sense. I did quite like that shot though, the way they're actually painting it in red. The problem is they gave him the eye patch, but now he's just 10 times cooler. That's the issue. They thought it could limit him, but in theory, it made him stronger. Apparently, the 1500s church didn't understand that eye patches were cool. So I think we'll conclude volume 3 with this episode, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I do actually like how it explores the idea of choice as well, because choice is a massive theme in this show. Because it kind of just it does then pair together with how society views the actions of the people as well, or the characters of the show. Because again, Akazi's got that whole entire concept that he always says he's here because someone told him to do it. Is the idea that we have a person who thinks he doesn't really have the choice, even though he constantly does in theory say, well, I can go back and start a new life or anything like that. But then he continues on, essentially. So that theme slowly starts to kind of permeate, is that a word? Within Akazi's character. Because I think with Akazi's character is the idea that maybe the choice itself isn't there because of how people have kind of drummed into him the theory that if you look up at the sky, you're not meant to view it in the sense of hope or anything like that. It's more so what's on Earth is this lowly place, and above is where is this holy land, and then everyone's looking down upon it as if a lowly place, basically. So I kind of feel like with Akazi's character, the choice would be there if it wasn't for the fact that society kind of put him in this point where he can't theoretically choose, or he doesn't feel like the concept of choosing is for him, essentially. If that makes sense. I don't know if that whole entire thought process makes any sense, but I think that is sort of what it's trying to go for as well with with Akazi's character. Because even faced with all these things that do tell him the opposite, he still views the above him with eyes looking down upon him, rather than what the world is meant to be like, essentially. My bro's going off. He's going off. As I said, his whole entire existence itself has been flipped upside down. Love Akoti so much. So I guess now they've got the theory, but how do they get to the masses without the church going, "Hey mate, what the fuck?" Be like, "Hey bro, you want to calm down with the whole theory shit there a little bit?" Exactly. I also like about this show as well is they actually do explain in such a way that even I myself, who doesn't really know anything about the stars and anything like that, understands. Well, yeah, I get it, even though I sort of don't get the exact same time. This show is so good. Oh my god, this show is amazing. I love it. Every single week it just does something more. You're like, what the fuck? Why can't shows be more like this? It's again, you are getting like character progression up the wazoo, like even in a very subtle way, because this show's not very overt in the way it develops the characters. It kind of does it in such a way that it develops as the world starts to kind of like progress in a way. It feels organic to what's going on around them essentially. I like that because again, you have a Ozzy is like, bro, I ain't looking up the stars. I can't. I'm not allowed. It ain't my kind of thing. And then you have Badeni who's like, bro, fuck that shit and look up now. You're like, oh, he's like, what the fuck? It's really nice because again, it's one of those things that we've known this whole entire time that he can't view that because he's been told that essentially heaven's up there, world's here, and the world is lowly, and then everything like that. Now, with all these things, it's actually starting to actually kind of understand. He's able to look at the world above him in a different way, and it's actually now beautiful in his own eyes. And it's one of those things that to an episode ago, this never would have happened. But because he put himself in this trajectory with Grass as well, subsequently then Badeni as well, he's able to actually kind of slowly grow as a person, actually feel this difference in the way that what he's been told it is in their own ways not the entire truth. There is more to it than just what they say to him essentially. And I kind of like that because again, it's one of those things that it doesn't really feel like anything in this show is forced. It feels like everything in this show is organic to what's actually transpiring. And I like how it uses the time period in that kind of way as well, because the time period is a pivotal point in the entire series as well. And it's one of those things that even when you went back into Badeni's actual past as well, it explores the whole idea that even then, there is more to this world, but they won't reveal it because it kind of then changes and alters how the church told everyone. Subsequently, then maybe some people will be like, bro, actually, are you telling me the truth here? Is this actually real? Is this just a fantasy? I don't know, and I kind of like that aspect as well. Because again, it's one of those things you don't see it too often in series. Series don't do this kind of like development this quickly, but also subsequently then this well as well. It's just one of those things that this show, I hope, gets more traction beyond just like the explosive moments essentially, because these small character moments do go a long way to actually kind of bring more out in the show that you don't see in other mediums or in other shows or in anything else really. It feels so nice to see how Okozi slowly starts to kind of break down the perception he has on the entirety of what's above him, and actually then how Grass did put and give that push essentially. It's the push as well. It's the push to go forward, because again, there is this whole idea of choice. Like, but then he had the choice not to open that book and actually subsequently then go back and actually not lose the eye. But then if he doesn't open that book, he doesn't know, does he? It's the curiosity after all. And the same thing applies with Okozi's character. Okozi's a little bit different because again, like I said during the stream, it's one of those things that kind of like Okozi's character hasn't been able to actually do what he wants to do because everyone is telling him not to do it. And then subsequently then everything he does is he's told to do it essentially. So he doesn't really have the freedom of choice in that kind of way. And then now he's slowly starting to kind of gain that independence in a way, that kind of autonomy. Not autonomy. Autonomy is actually autonomy. I can't remember the exact word for it, but it's that kind of like that independence, that kind of freedom to actually choose. Because again, he didn't turn away. He said to himself, I could turn away and actually go back to start a new life. But then again, if he doesn't know. And that's the thing about this show as well, is that choice to continue on, that choice to go back. Do you continue on? Do you go back? What do you lose? And it's one of those things that this show does it in a way that feels really nice. It's a really kind of ingenious exploration of the idea of choice. And I like how it's done in a very unique way. Because you have what this show does do and does it very well. It has the concept of opposites. Like in essence, Okozi is the opposite of Badeni, but not in a kind of like, obvious way. It's more in the kind of not perceptive, the actual like personality kind of way as well. Like Badeni was like, okay, well, I want to know these things. I'll support nothing, even I have to like endure all this like pain. If it allows me to actually study these things, and then fuck it, I guess I'll do it. He continues on, doesn't stop. And you have the opposite side of the whole entire spectrum. You have Akosi, who's actually kind of like, he's more reclusive in that whole entire concept because he's been told these things, he believes these things because, again, it's been ingrained into him so much that he has no other way of thinking. Even when Grass told him, like, there's more to this, bro, you gotta kind of have a different way of viewing it, he still continues with the same perception. Until now, when he actually slowly starts to kind of break the whole entire idea, and actually then become like more independent, actually have a bit more authority in this kind of universe as well. And I kind of like that. It's a very nice moment for his character. Again, 2 episodes, we're having the whole entire character arc basically. It's kind of great how this show does it in a very organic way. It doesn't feel like other shows where you have like the start, the development, the conflict, the resolution in the end. This show does it in a way that you just don't see it, and I kind of feel like this show deserves more recognition for that. Like I said a couple of times, I feel like this show falls by the wayside because what I've seen is being concentrated on is the end of episode 3, which is an explosive moment. It's an amazing moment as well, and a very depressing moment at the exact same time. But then what this show has as well is these small moments that really distinguish it from other shows. And I kind of feel like it needs recognition in that department as well, because again, this is something you would see in a 25% anime series. It's done in 2 episodes, and it feels like it doesn't actually feel like, oh my god, what the fuck, it's going so fast. No, it feels genuine, and I can't stress enough how good this show is. I just hope more people speak about it. I hope it's one of those shows that gains a kind of cult following as time goes on. I kind of hope so, because I do see people watching it. I need to see more. I guess. I kind of feel like everyone in this show with with the whole theory as well. Like they're trying to say, guys, this theory is here. And I'm like, guys, this anime is here. Watch it. It's so good. I feel like them at this point. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna lie down for a long while because this show is a lot, and it's also very fucking good. So if you actually have enjoyed this whole entire show as a whole, and as always, do leave a follow on Twitch. It does help quite a bit. You will then see these streams live. You actually have then enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube. Then as always, leave a like. It does help quite a bit. Leave a sub as well. Both do help quite a lot. Actually have then enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube as well. And as always, do leave a follow on on Twitter. Does help quite a bit. Actually will then know when your streams are live and any other streams I may do as well. So yes, until next time with Orb episode 7 actually. Also, manga hopefully will resume tomorrow if nothing else actually happens in the meantime. And I will see you guys then. Bye for now.